Today on Learn Me Something
Childhood fears
versus
Plagiarism traps.
This is the last episode of season 3, Caleb.
Wow, it's been a long time coming. How long have we been on this season?
This season started August 9th of last year, so over a year.
Wow,
A year and 19 days.
that's a lot of seasoning.
It's like a Creole, like a deep south crawfish boil. Just so tasty. Lots of good stuff in
Love
there.
it. Let me see. Let me scroll through these episodes.
Yeah, I'm looking at like the past episodes. Top Gun Maverick versus the Mary Celeste.
Oh yeah,
That was a
classic.
fun one. That was back when Top Gun was all the rage. Kind of still is.
It is to me. A lot of these, it's like looking back. It's amazing how fast you like forget what we've talked about. You know.
Yeah, here, let's do a little test.
Okay.
I'm gonna test you. Let's ask a few questions back and forth. What or who is Wojtek?
Oh, I
No
know
cheating.
it.
I'll give you a hint if you want.
Yeah, give me a hint.
This is from episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Polish war hero.
Oh yeah, he's the bear.
The bear.
The
Wojtek.
big bear.
Yeah, they adopted as a cub and then kept. He just ate stuff, basically.
I forgot about that.
Okay, test me. What do you got? Give me a question.
All right, let me scroll through the. Oh, here's a good one. Which famous actor struggles with face blindness?
Oh, Brad Pitt.
Nailed it.
Everyone knows that one.
Duh.
People listening at home knew the answer to that before we even asked it.
This is like kind of stressful.
Okay, here is another one. Where was pizza invented?
Where? I think
Where?
New York. Just kidding.
No.
I still have to say Venice. Was
No.
it Venice?
No, it was not.
Where-
It was like southern Italy. Venice is northern Italy.
Oh,
It's
well,
not fair because I've been there a few times, but
see, that is not a lack of me knowing these topics. That is a lack of me having any sense of geographical prowess.
you're like, I would remember if I knew something about geography, but since I don't remember.
Well, I couldn't tell you where in Italy Venice is.
Well, just think it's north.
Okay.
I'm having a hard. I don't know why. I literally was there. I can picture it.
Yeah.
I remember eating the pizza. I don't remember the name. I don't know why I asked this question. I don't remember the name of it. It's in there.
The name of the town or the pizza place?
The town it was invented. Why can I not? Oh, we literally went there for the pizza to have a. We literally went there to eat a piece of pizza.
Yeah, I can't remember.
This is going to bother me. I can't cheat. Okay. Work with me. So you have the margarita pizza that was
Okay.
popular from there. You have, what's it called? It's like it's a wood-fired pizza, and it's liquidy, and it's tomato sauce, and a little bit of mozzarella and some basil.
Yep.
And that's it.
I do remember the description of the pizza. I could not tell you what the name is.
Oh, crap. Okay.
Wow,
I don't.
language warning.
Oh, sorry. We'll mark this as explicit, probably. This makes me so sad. I can't remember my own thing.
It'll come to you.
I'm
I'm
looking up a map of Italy.
Whenever you.
I'm sorry,
Whenever
Italians,
you get there,
if you're screaming.
just shout it out.
Naples.
Oh, Josiah, that's humiliating.
I'm gonna retire actually right now. Yeah.
Sure.
So it's
Yeah.
been a fun ride. We're stopping it early. This is a short episode. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
This is a mini episode. The show's over forever.
That's horrible. I can't believe I did that. Anyway, it's been a fun ride.
It has been a fun ride. Last one.
You got another question?
What is your favorite form of extreme ironing? Do you remember any from the show?
Scuba. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, good choice.
Okay.
That was less of like a trivia and more of a, I guess, a preference question.
a nice, easy one for me. I appreciate it. I was being hard on myself.
You needed a low baller. You needed an easy win.
An underhanded, slow pitch. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Learn Me Something podcast, the world's first competitive podcast. This is the season finale of season 3. And it's been a pretty good season. And so if you're new here, first of all, welcome. The gist is we compete. So we both bring a topic to the table, and then you, the listener, via our social media and or the link in the show notes, can vote for who you thought did better. I just walked away.
I'm just checking my video.
Oh, okay.
I get paranoid.
And the loser has to do a punishment. I lost last episode, which was very unfortunate. I was feeling confident. I liked my topic, but it's fine.
Yeah, and the people didn't like it enough. It was pretty close, though. It was very close.
Yeah.
You were winning for a bit.
Yeah,
but I pulled out just at the last minute. So the punishment was you had to drive 3 miles an hour under the speed limit. Did you do it?
I did
and
it.
If so, how did it go?
I did do it. Otherwise, the premise of this show is fraudulent. But I did do it. I will be honest. I think. Oh, how do I want to say this? I don't want to make any bold claims. I think I might drive like that in general for the rest of my life.
Oh, normally.
Yeah. Because I thought you just like see everybody flying by you. Everyone's in a rush. They're trying to drive as fast as they can without getting pulled over. People are trying to like beat the yellow lights. You know, if it like just inched to red, you could still sneak through. And you're just watching everyone like everyone is so hurried and rushed. It's a bad state of mind. And you're just there driving 3 miles below the speed limit. Not a care in the world. Like it just forced you to not care about the travel time. You're just like, whatever, I'll get there when I get there.
Interesting.
And I really enjoyed it.
Did you find that people got mad at you at all?
Yeah. So I will say it was, even though I enjoyed it and will probably adapt that drive style, there were a few things that felt very punishment-like. The first one was people being right on your tail. And that I could deal with for most of the time. I had a video shoot in a town a couple hours away. Okay. And that shoot happened right after the voting ended for last episode. So I drove that whole time. And it's like...
First one.
Yeah, it's like a back 2-lane highway. You know, passing lanes are limited. And I just like... A guy got behind me early. And I was just like, oh, man, I'm sorry,
it's
dude.
It's going to be a long day.
And it took him, it was like 30 or 40 minutes or something before he was able to finally get around.
Really?
And I felt bad about that. But I was like, you know, the cruise control is on, 3 under, and there's nothing I can do about it.
We like to include other people in the punishments as well.
Exactly.
Random passers-by.
So that was,
okay.
That felt punishing. The other thing that felt like a punishment, and this is something I will not be doing, is... like moving forward.
Sure.
Driving 22 miles an hour in a 25 is brutal.
Really?
Because no one gets all the way down to 25 anyway. The slowest is like 28. And when you slow down all the way to 22, it just feels like you're absolutely crawling. And like that is one thing that I was like, oh, this is... Because I live downtown, so everything's 25 miles an hour everywhere around my apartment. Mm-hmm. It was horrible. I felt so uncomfortable, and there are people lining up behind me, and you're like, you can see the red light ahead of you, but you still have like a good minute or two before you get to it. It was a lot. I did not love that.
Okay. So you're gonna apply it by in the faster speed limits, you're just gonna just chill when you're driving?
I would say anything above 35, I'll just go the speed limit. Or maybe, maybe not under, but just like right at, or maybe a little under. And it's just like slow and relaxed, and it forces you to not be rushed like the rest of everyone else on the road.
Okay. Just get like an electric bike or something. Get a scooter.
I'll just run everywhere or jog.
Yeah.
Because I'm not in a hurry.
Yeah, if you ran, that would defeat the purpose. But jogging, maybe a brisk walk would do the trick.
Yeah. I will also say it also eliminated the need to, because I run late to places frequently. It's a downside of who I am as a person. And it eliminated the like, all right, if I drive just slightly faster and catch these lights, then I can cut off this many minutes from my trip, and that'll help me get there at this time. It eliminates all that. And you're just like, you know what? I'm running late, but it is what
You're
it is.
just there.
Yeah, it's going to be what it's going to be.
Okay. That's excellent.
Yeah.
I'm glad you learned something, but I'm also glad. I'm more glad that it was a punishment.
Yeah, a lot of it felt very punishy, for sure.
Good. Oh, and shout out to Ellie for suggesting that one.
Yeah, it's a good one. Good stuff.
Thanks, Ellie.
Before we start, what are you drinking? It looks like a fun can.
Yeah, it's very fun. It's not that fun. It's called an AHA. The flavor is pineapple passion fruit. It's sparkling water. So real quick, we did Whole30 a few months ago,
Yeah.
and I hated sparkling water. I'm one of the people that just hated it because,
Yeah.
I don't have to explain that.
You're firmly against. I get it.
Yeah, but then when you're doing Whole30, there's nothing you can drink except for black coffee and tea, and I just wanted something fun. And so we started drinking these, and now I drink them all the time because you kind of get desensitized to the sugar.
Oh,
And
sure.
then, so now I'm experimenting, finding good flavors, and I feel so old and sad because of it, but it's kind of fun. So I'm slightly embracing it.
Well, I'm happy that you've accepted it. You've accepted the lifestyle.
Do you drink them?
No, I'm still on team fully against. Well, I don't know. If we're at an outing and there's like, hey, there's a cooler with drinks in it, and that's like the option, then I'll probably get one as like a social being a
just
part
hold
of
it.
things, you know?
You want to keep your hand cold?
Exactly. I
Yeah.
drink it.
There-
I was like, this is refreshing, but I'm not enjoying it. That's about as close as I can get right now.
Sure. Okay. There's two flavors, both Waterloo is the brand.
Okay.
Orange, cinnamon orange,
Oh.
and then there's a ginger lime. Those two are the best I've found.
All right. Nice.
So if you're going to start, that's my
The official rec.
recommendation.
Well, should we make this episode happen?
Let's jump into it. I'm going to go first since I won,
Please.
and that's what I want to do.
I insist.
Okay, thank you. Think back to your childhood. Think about some of the fears that you had as a child. Some of these fears that don't quite make sense looking back.
Yeah.
Like the monster under your bed.
Oh,
I don't know. What do you have any of these?
right off
that
the
like
bat, I think
sort of irrational fears.
Yeah, I'm thinking of everyone has this. For whatever reason, if you have a basement and you have to turn the lights off, you run up the stairs before the bad guys can get to you, or the
As quickly as possible.
dark monsters.
Yeah, outrun the darkness.
Exactly. I would say
Yeah,
probably
we've all been
that
there.
was the closest I got. I don't know if I ever experienced like fear of monsters under my bed or anything, but
Okay.
I would take the stairs 3 at a time when I turn the lights off down there.
Okay. There's also I have a couple,
Huh?
and some of them are based on like things that you learn, and you think they're going to be a much bigger issue than they really are. Like I thought I'd be offered drugs on the street so much more. I've never been offered drugs.
What? Never?
I thought people would just like force feed me some pills that I have no idea what they are.
Do you
or
have to like stand for your beliefs and
Yeah, I will not do any meth, not even once.
stop trying?
And the whole stop, drop, and roll thing, I thought spontaneous combustion would be a much bigger issue.
Yeah,
Like,
that
I
was
was
stressed a weird
prepared.
amount as kids.
I was prepared to stop, drop, and roll at all times, at a moment's notice. Sometimes like at a campfire, I had school PTSD and would just stop, drop, and roll.
I just need to, just in case.
Yeah. And then something else that sticks with me is having to get out of an electrified car Like if your car breaks down and then a telephone,
yeah.
like a live wire falls on it. That's never happened.
No.
Not even close.
But
I
everyone's
know
been
exactly
taught
what
this.
to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're keeping your feet together and hopping, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Shuffling and hopping. Oh, I think you're shuffling actually.
Because isn't it like there are different levels of electricity, and if you put your feet on different sides of the different levels, they'll like course through you and you'll ground to the other or something?
I guess whatever they taught me.
Okay.
And then there's like lava. And then I was reading online. A couple people said falling anvils and pianos. They were a lot more worried about than they should have been. And having to climb the rope in gym.
Oh, yeah. Which we never did.
I've never climbed a rope in gym, but it seems like everybody always does that. And that's like the horrible thing that you do. But who does that? I don't know. And also kissing a girl in the school play. I was like terrified. I was like, what if I have to, like, as a kid, I was like, I wasn't the type of kid that was like super excited about that and would just do theater so that I could do that. But I had this rush. Now I did a play once, I think, in 4th grade.
Yeah, James and the
And
Giant
I was a toad. What did you say? What did you say to me?
James and the Giant Peach, right?
James, no. That's a different play. I guess I've done a couple. Yeah, I was a grasshopper.
Nice.
Did not do much smooch in the grasshopper. Nice. Anyway, so I'm going to be talking about three of these childhood fears and kind of the reality behind them.
Okay.
Versus the myths that we've been taught. So I'm going to start off by talking about the Bermuda Triangle.
Love it. Big fan.
One of these things that I thought I would encounter many times and have yet to encounter. But that's okay. We're going to learn about it today.
I feel like we should clarify that. You were, as a child, like, the Bermuda Triangle is in my future and I have to survive it?
Like, I may find myself flying over it or sailing through it or something.
Sure.
Like, it's dangerous and just things happen, so we need to be prepared. I didn't expect it, but I was prepared.
That's very interesting. I don't know
how
if
I was prepared.
I don't know if I share that one with you. But
Okay.
continue. Do continue. I'm interested.
Okay, so it's basically a patch of ocean from Miami to San Juan up to Bermuda. So that's the 3 points of the triangle.
Yep.
And the myths and legends around this place kind of all start with Christopher Columbus back in 1492.
That guy.
We all know it.
We all know it.
Another thing we've been taught in school. And in this general area of the triangle, he reported that his compass needle moved slightly to the northwest, then in the morning, a little bit more to the northwest.
Oh, no.
Not only that, he said the sea was rising, and he saw a flickering light on the horizon.
You know what that is? Sea monsters.
It's a Bermuda Triangle.
Some other dimensional stuff right there. That's the only explanation.
Probably. And so that was kind of the beginning of strange happenings in the Bermuda Triangle. Okay. 1606, an English ship carrying 150 passengers wrecked at Bermuda, which was due to a large hurricane, which is not mysterious or anything, but still,
Yeah.
Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
1881, a ship on a transatlantic journey encountered a ghost ship, which,
man.
if you remember from the Mary Celeste episode, is a ship with nobody on it.
Oh, I do. That was season 3.
That was the season. I threw in a little throwback there.
Nice. Good.
A few people got on board the ghost ship to check it out, but a storm separated the two ships. Next day, they found each other again, but there's nobody on the ship. No trace of the people that got on it the day before.
Oh, that's a suspicious one.
To this day, unsolved.
What?
Fast forward
Other
1918, could be. We'll discuss it.
Okay.
It's very possible.
Sounds good.
The U.S. Navy ship, the Cyclops, just disappeared.
What?
No distress signal was ever received, and no wreck has ever been found. 1941, another Navy ship vanished 1 month before a third Navy ship,
What?
all in the Bermuda Triangle. 1945, a group of World War II pilots took their planes for a 3-hour exercise from Florida to the Bahamas.
Lovely.
They never returned. None of them never returned.
Maybe they just got to the Bahamas and were like, why would we ever go back?
They just ejected above and
We're
launched
going
the
to
planes into the sea. And
we're going on
just floated
vacation.
down to the Bahamas. We're done with this war. 1948 and 1949, passenger flight disappeared in each year. And so there have been 70 disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle,
Okay, that's enough to cause suspicion.
right?
Yeah.
You'd think like you said, more dimensions. There's like, I don't know.
Aliens.
Who knows?
Something about aliens for sure.
Yeah. So a lot of people do have extraterrestrial theories about what's going on.
Classic.
So the term Bermuda Triangle was actually coined in 1964, and that's kind of when people started to take notice about all these disappearances. And there's this book written about it that really blew up.
Sure.
How we think about it and perceive it. So what could it be? Strange geomagnetism happening,
Possibly.
altering the navigation tools
Sounds
of
good
vessels.
to me. Or the
Okay.
Kraken, perhaps.
Could be the Kraken.
A
Could be
megalodon.
Nessie. Megalodon. Could be
Possibility.
hurricanes and rough seas.
Possibilities. are
Energy
endless.
patches in the clouds.
Oh, I like that one. I love a good
Yeah?
energy patch. That sounds like something
Ancient
someone
aliens?
came up with. That doesn't mean anything.
No, I kind of came up with that.
Nice.
to be
Okay.
honest.
Love it.
Ancient aliens living in the deep sea.
Maybe. Do you know?
No.
Do you know the answer? Are you gonna?
There is an answer to what's happening over in the Bermuda Triangle.
Yes. Yes.
Here we go.
I'm ready.
So, nothing. There's nothing going on. There's nothing going on in the Bermuda Triangle. So it's actually a relatively safe area to travel in.
Okay.
And it's not even the top 10 deadliest patches of water on Earth.
Oh, so we've just blown it out of proportion.
Yeah, so listen to these stats. So according to Lloyd's List Intelligence, which does not sound credible, but it is.
Lloyd's List.
Yeah, it's like a blog a guy put up.
Yeah. Welcome to Lloyd'sList.blogspot.com.
In the most recent article, the Bermuda Triangle is safe. Lloyd. So it's a shipping publication that tracks like data about shipping vessels,
Sure.
ships and stuff.
Sounds good.
And so out of all the vessels in the world in 2021, it found that 1.8% experience a casualty or disappearance. That's 1.8% across the entire world.
Yep.
And then in 2021, there were 8,600-ish trips in and through the Bermuda Triangle.
Yep.
There were only 2 casualties, which comes out to be 0.02%,
Gotcha.
which is 90 times less than the global average.
Fascinating. So what this is essentially is a little bit of conspiracy theory mixed with the law of large numbers. Correct? So 70 sounds
think
big,
so.
so it feels like it's significant, but if you put
I
it up
think
against
so.
the actual ratio, it's not bad. That's very interesting.
That's what the stats are saying. If I'm open to be proven wrong, but you look at the numbers, pretty safe place to go. Like ships go through there all the time today.
That is very fascinating.
Yeah.
Well,
So basically, it's fine. I mean, it's water. It's
Don't worry
still
about it.
dangerous, and you gotta respect it.
Yeah.
But it's nothing. No aliens, as far as I'm concerned.
well, TBD. TBD on
TBD.
that.
We'll put a little dog ear on that one and come back to it eventually.
Sounds good. Yep.
All right, let's move on to my next childhood fear that I think you may have worried a little bit about this one.
Okay.
Quicksand.
Oh yeah. Actually, I I might be more worried about this as an adult because I read some like offhanded some Facebook thing popped up that was like, if you get stuck in quicksand, you can't try to just like pull yourself out because you'll like dislocate your legs or something. And I was like, well, now I'm way more stressed about quicksand than I was even as a child. So I would love for you to just kind of ease my conscience. I've been laying awake at night for years thinking about this.
Yeah, I'll do my best to ease your conscience. I don't know we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll give you the facts, and you can make a decision
Sounds good.
after this. So it is real, and it's sand that acts as a liquid because it's saturated with water. So it's basically just super watery sand, like a sand soup.
Sand soup.
Think of it like that.
Or perhaps a sand stew seems thicker.
Yeah, maybe like you know when have you ever made cornbread?
No. I have never.
Okay, if you're making cornbread and before you put it in the oven, that's kind of what I envision it like.
Okay, I can only picture post-oven cornbread, but I will let you that analogy can be for the listeners.
Okay, that's for those of us that have made cornbread.
We're cultured
That's
in that
like
way.
a special group of us here. A subgroup of listeners who've made cornbread. We're on the same team here.
Members of the cornbread club understand. Continue, please.
Yeah, I'm just going to talk to them from now on. So people and animals certainly get stuck, and they have gotten stuck in the past. But it turns out it's basically impossible to die by quicksand in the way that we all envision it. So it's not like the Princess Bride where you just are slowly sinking and then eventually you go all the way head first and then just your fingers are left pointing out and then you just descend into the sand and die.
And fall to some... Remember I feel like there were some shows where you like fall through the quicksand and then fall into like some cool cave. And you're like,
oh yeah,
we're not dead after all.
That's not a thing either.
That's a big bummer.
As far as I know.
Yeah, physics, that seems questionable, but I wish it was a thing.
Yeah. However, it's denser than the human body.
Okay.
So your legs can sink all the way, but basically your torso, by the time it gets to your butt, you're going to stop sinking.
Huh. Well, that's...
So you'll be sitting there. But it is, like you said, you could dislocate your leg just because it's so like it'll get you stuck. But actually, you are to get out. You are supposed to move a little bit and create little air pockets that will allow you to kind of wriggle free.
Just do a bit of wiggling.
Yeah,
which is interesting because the Indiana Jones movies say stay completely still. Yeah, feels like
which
false.
is not. It's not helpful because then you'll just be stuck even longer if you're not doing anything.
It'll just set in more.
Yeah, I mean, imagine somebody says you're stuck, don't get out of it.
Yeah.
Like, what are you supposed to do?
Well,
I guess you could wait for somebody, but...
This is who I am now. You have to wait for someone to throw a snake tail at you.
Anything. A tie, some rope, some cornbread.
Exactly. Here, well, I'll go get my cornbread. We can get you out of there.
I made a world's longest piece of cornbread, and I burnt it. It should be fine. We'll do the trick. Pry out.
This should operate just fine as rope.
So they say you can also lay on your back to try to spread out your body weight a little bit.
Sure.
And
makes sense.
Just get a wider surface area to help you wriggle out. And you can get out. It'll just take a while.
Yeah.
And they say that if you move your foot at 1 centimeter a second, it takes roughly the same force as lifting a medium-sized car.
Huh.
So it's just
hard.
You just got to take your time, slowly wiggle. And if you dislocate your leg from pulling, you have to be pulling like really hard. You're not going to do that on purpose.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that checks out.
Just slowly wriggle out.
Thanks for dispelling my fears.
Yeah. But hold on though. There have been deaths.
Oh no.
Because it's not the danger of sinking all the way into the quicksand and suffocating. It's more somebody, at least one recorded case, somebody got stuck in quicksand when it was low tide and she didn't get out in time
for the tide.
Before the tide rose.
Now that is terrifying.
Yeah. So so do with that information what you will.
Fears.
And there's been a couple deaths, but it's very, very rare.
Yeah. All right. I just hope that doesn't happen to me because that sounds scary, really, essentially.
Like you don't need to worry about it. All that to say, just slowly wriggle.
Yeah.
I think they said one person who died was like very immobile, so they couldn't get out. They just weren't strong enough.
Oh, sure.
So
But for the
that
average
is
person,
something to be aware of. And it's one more motivation to not skip leg day.
exactly.
Think about the quicksand. Think about what could happen.
I'm doing this for the quicksand, everyone.
You're just at the gym, like just standing there, like wriggling, like twisting your hips back and forth.
With weights. You have like shake weights
Just-
attached to your ankles or something.
Or just barely kicking your legs a tiny bit.
Come on, come on.
Little flutter kicks for an hour.
Preparing for any quicksand mishaps.
Okay, that's quicksand. I got one more.
Hit me.
Before we finish up. Did you ever have a fear of piranhas?
A little bit, yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know if it was like a core fear, but it was definitely like I really kind of don't want to get in any water south of, I don't know, Texas. Just in
Okay.
case.
You want to stay in the States?
Exactly.
Yeah. So here, let's start with a quote from Teddy Roosevelt,
Oh,
which
perfect.
kind of this guy is so I want to do a topic about him one day. I read a book about him once. This guy is insane. Anyway, so he once wrote, "They're the most ferocious fish in the world. Even the most formidable fish, the sharks or the barracudas, usually attack things smaller than themselves. But the piranhas habitually attack things much larger than themselves.
Yeah.
They'll snap a finger off your hand incautiously trailed in the water. They mutilate swimmers in every river town in
my
Paraguay.
goodness.
There are men who have been thus mutilated. They will rend and devour alive any wounded man or beast, for blood in the water excites them to madness.
Are you trying to...
They will tear...
Oh, you're not done. Sorry.
No. I have one more sentence. They will tear wounded wildfowl to pieces and bite off the tails of big fish as they grow exhausted when fighting after being hooked."
Wow.
Wild.
If you're trying to dispel... I was saying dispel a lot today. If you're trying to get rid of my fear of piranhas, that quotation did not help.
Okay, let's keep learning about piranhas though.
'Kay.
You can't fear something unless you fully understand it. That just came out of my butt. I don't know if that has any truth, but I said it and it sounded wise.
I was going to say, I
So
feel
let's
like
continue.
most of the sayings are like, you can't get over your fear of something until you fully understand it. You know what?
I stand by what I say.
I've heard it both ways. Once by
Let's-
you and the rest by everyone else. So let's continue.
Okay. Well, not everybody can be right. So, piranha means toothfish
Oh, fun.
in the Brazilian language tupi.
Oh,
Yes. And the largest modern piranha is called the black piranha, which is the scariest name
yeah.
it can possibly have. And it has a bite force of 72 pounds.
That is nuts.
And they have found remains of an extinct piranha species called the Megapiranha paranensis,
Oh, my goodness.
which maybe Megapiranha is a little scarier. But they say that had a bite force of up to 1,000 pounds.
I have to stop us right here for a second. My mom, I don't know why this is such a core memory for me, but it is. My mom and I, when I don't know how old I was, maybe like middle school or early high school, for whatever reason, it was just my mom and I, and we watched a full movie on like the Sci-Fi Channel called Mega Piranha, and it's just this horrible B movie about piranhas that are just getting bigger and bigger, and there's nothing that's stopping them, and the whole plot point of the movie was they're on this river and they have to find a way to stop them before they get to the ocean. Because if they get from the river to the ocean, then there's no telling how big they can get.
That's true.
And they were
the
like-
ocean's big.
They were like jumping and like eating whole houses. But then there are scenes where like the main character would be like, "Oh no, here they come." And he'd lay on his back and like bicycle kick a bunch of them. It was a good movie, I gotta tell you.
Can we watch it right now?
Yeah. Stop. You know what? We're going to stop recording here. We'll revisit this episode in a couple hours.
Okay, sounds good.
But if you need some
I
entertainment.
love that. I would watch that. I might watch that.
Yeah. Mega Piranha, highly recommend.
So anyway, Megapiranha was real, apparently. not in that way, but it was still pretty big.
1,000
so-
pounds. That's That's a big bite.
That's a tough bite.
Yeah.
That's more than I can bite, and I
Exactly.
got a bite force. I can bite through some stuff.
Do we know what the human bite force is?
I've heard. I have a theory that your bite force is not actually. Have you heard the theory that like it's as easy to bite through your finger as it is a baby carrot?
Yeah, you don't subscribe to that?
I don't subscribe to that at all.
I think I Googled that and learned that it was a huge myth.
Because you can just smash a carrot on the table and it will shatter, but you can smash your finger on the table. It's fine.
Just fine.
Do
you want the answer?
I want the answer.
The average human bite force is between 120 and 160 pounds per square inch.
Okay,
This pales in comparison to many wild animals. The bite force of dogs can reach 250, while some bears have a bite force of over 1,000 psi. And the bite force of a mega piranha can bite at the same level as a bear.
Did you just come up with that, or did you read that?
I did not read that, but I combined two sources of information.
Okay, that's good. Me and Wikipedia,
The internet.
Probably. Okay. So I was expecting to find that piranhas are really like overly hyped and people worry about them too much, and I expected to find out how cute and adorable they are. Let me just tell you, they are not.
It's worse.
They're crazy.
No.
They
Don't do this to me.
I mean, kind of, but they will absolutely demolish and like every ounce of meat. There's multiple videos where they have a dead duck, full duck, like it had just been killed, feathers and all. They tie it to like a wire, put it in the water, and just shake it back and forth, smack it on the surface of the water, because that's what draws the piranhas. And within minutes, they'll just pull up a skeleton. It's
that is
terrifying.
Yeah, so scary. Holy cow!
And there's like you can watch it online. But I thought this was really really interesting because you can have them in like they're a freshwater fish, and you can have them in your aquarium. Some people do.
That's
and
a bad idea.
I saw this YouTube comment, and somebody said one of my nephews actually had about 18 piranhas he bought from a tropical fish store. They were small. I would sit and watch them for hours. I was fascinated by them, especially when it was feeding time. Sometimes, depending on how large the feeders were, they would nip away at the fins to slowly disable the fish before finally making all-out attack.
Oh my
goodness! He once bought a fish that was used in koi ponds, and they nipped off all the fins and waited in formation for almost an hour before they all moved in for the final attack.
No.
The water in the fish tank was clashing against the glass like strong waves because they were shaking the fish so hard.
Oh my goodness! I don't like that.
Yeah, they're crazy, and they're cannibals too, so they have no problem going after their own kind.
Oh,
so it's true they'll go after, they'll like nip at eyes and fins of other fish to debilitate them.
Yeah,
and then once they can't get away or fight back, then they'll go for the kill for these other fish.
Mega Piranha the movie just got so much scarier.
They're crazy, but there is evidence of piranhas going after people as well, but only after they've died.
So they won't go after a live person, potentially.
I'm not going to say they won't, but I think they have. I'm sure they have.
Sure, some unlucky soul.
Yeah, but they go after dead stuff quite a bit because it's just easier. Yeah. And it's so crazy. I'll probably link a video or two. Have you ever watched River Monsters with Jeremy Wade?
Yeah, I think I've seen an episode or two. It's
one of the best shows ever. I'm not even a fisherman, but it's such a good show. That guy is so crazy. But he filled a pond, like a little pool with 100 piranhas. Yeah. And then he poured some blood into it, and they didn't do anything. And then he lowered a piece of meat into it, and they just went wild.
They just went
destroyed
nuts.
it. And they can take out meat so quickly because they go in, grab a bite, and swim away. Yeah. And then that alerts other fish that there's food. So the other piranhas come in, and they just cycle in and out, just destroying this meat. But then he got in the pond,
Oh, that
and he was fine.
feels like a bad idea.
It was. Oh, it's wild. I'll link to that video.
That makes me
But,
nervous. I looked up while you were telling that story. I looked up pictures of piranhas. I do not like them.
They're so freaky.
Their teeth are terrifying.
No, they're so sharp. I read one account that they say their teeth are so sharp that people don't even notice they've been bitten until they see the blood.
Oh my goodness!
Like it's just like,
Just get you.
yeah.
I don't
But
like that.
as far as I can tell, it's rare that they'll attack a live person. Like unless they think. I read if you are a rambunctious child who is bleeding, then you're probably fine to take a swim with the piranhas.
Yeah, then go for it. It'll be great.
Yeah, it's probably fine.
Don't
but
worry.
if you're like if you're splashing around a bunch and you're bleeding, it's probably not a good idea. Is what I read.
The general.
So
Where are these located? Do you know? Like, do you know?
the Amazon.
Amazon.
I know they're mostly in the Amazon. I don't know if they're anywhere else.
Well, let's leave them there.
Okay, let's do that. No, they are an invasive species. They are places that they shouldn't be as well. I read. I don't know if people have taken care of them or they're still invasive in places, but yeah, they're wild.
I don't
So
like that.
I hope you and your inner child feel a little safer today and a little more confident in your survival abilities when one of these inevitable things happens. But piranhas are scary. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. So two of them are like, hey, we kind of solved this. It's going to be okay. And one of them is like, absolutely not. Be careful.
Well, I don't know. You can swim with piranhas. Just you might get bit, but you'll be fine.
Maybe that will be whenever we do the very last episode of Learn Me Something. That'll be the punishment.
Oh, swim with piranhas?
You have to fly down to the Amazon and get in with piranhas.
And just jump in the Amazon?
Flail a little bit.
Oh, but what else? Oh, I've heard stories.
Oh boy.
Man.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started. Okay, that's all I got.
Nice. That was fun. I love it.
Oh, and just to top it off, I've never had to kiss a girl in the school play. So
I'm not gonna lie, I relate to that fear more than like the other ones. I remember because I did theater, not a lot more, but I did a couple in high school, and I was always nervous about it. I remember, there was one play I was in high school where I had a kissing scene, and but it was a comedy, and the whole thing was supposed to be ridiculous, and our characters were actors, so we were acting as actors. So the kiss was like put the mouth in the way, and the lights went out as we went in. So that you put your hand on the other person's mouth, so you just kiss your hand.
Oh,
so it was
so you kissed your hand on a girl's face.
Exactly. But I remember seeing that script, and that wasn't written in the script. So because they hadn't like blocked the scene, it was said there was a kiss scene, and I was like,
they hadn't made it Caleb friendly yet.
Yeah, exactly. And so
that's so funny. Which one was that?
It's called Brothers Grimm Spectaculathon. I was very nervous, but it worked out. I can't tell you how like relieved I was when they blocked the scene and were like, what if we do like a fake kiss?
What were you gonna do? Were you gonna be like, I can't do it? Or
no,
you just like
I would have braved up.
Would have committed?
I would have done it, but I was sure nervous about it. Anyway,
a true actor.
For the season finale, a little peek into the insecurities of high school Caleb.
Oh, that's fun. That's very fun.
All
okay,
right.
a quick pause to thank all the patrons. We're very, very grateful. I was just looking at our list of patrons recently.
Yeah.
And you know who you are. Thank you for listening. We're very grateful for you guys. It makes this show much more possible.
Yeah.
And we put little extra episodes we call the Nightclub on there every once in a while, semi-regularly. And if you don't want to, that's great. But if you do, we would appreciate it a ton.
Yeah, we got some big plans. So feel free to support. It's gonna be great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you ready for my topic?
What do you got?
Okay, this is we got a lot to get through. So we're just going to be rapid fire.
Okay.
I immediately lost my train of thought. This is one of those topics where I start researching an idea and then it develops into a different topic altogether. So basically, I heard about this island in Mexico, and it led to my actual topic is so much different than what I originally was looking up. So have you heard of Bermeja Island? That's how I think it's
No.
pronounced, based
No.
off my limited knowledge of Spanish pronunciations. So I heard a story about this, and I had it written in my list of podcast topic ideas.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, let's go look into this story, see if there's anything there. Usually, half the time, I look into a topic and it's like, that's fun, but it's not enough for a full topic.
Okay.
So I'm looking into this story. Essentially, it's a tiny island in Mexico, north of Yucatan, in the Gulf of Mexico. Very small, uninhabited.
Yeah.
It was first mapped, the first documentation we've seen is in 1539 by Spanish sailors. This is kind of first record we have of the island, first people that saw it and discovered it. And in that, we're given the coordinates in the mapping, so it's very clear where the island is. Fast forward hundreds and hundreds of years, the island has been on different maps in the exact same shape and in the exact same location on the map. So we've consistently known exactly where it is. Fast forward to about 15 years ago. It's 2008 and 2009, somewhere in there. Mexico and the U.S. enter into these negotiations over drilling rights in the Gulf of Mexico. And essentially, both countries discover that there are very rich oil deposits in the Gulf. And they're arguing over how far past their territories they're allowed to extend in their drilling. Does that make sense? So they're trying to draw the line of where are the two allowed to drill and where is considered the other country. Enter Bermeja. So this island, despite hundreds of years of being, generally unimportant, glossed over, suddenly it becomes the center of a massive economic discussion between two major countries.
I thought you were going to say it wasn't there.
Well, hang in there, Josiah.
No.
Here's why it becomes a center for discussion.
No. Okay.
Based on the maps that we've seen up to this point, Bermeja is the northernmost island on the Mexico side of the Gulf. So all of a sudden, this tiny island that has been ignored for centuries finally has its moment of glory. It comes slamming into the spotlight because essentially it means that that Mexico has a claim or has an argument for extending their territory much further in the Gulf than originally discussed.
Because between Bermeja and the mainland is all of their territory.
Exactly. Yep. So if they can extend their territory out to Bermeja, even though it's this tiny, insignificant island, that opens the gates to a lot of more drilling.
For sure.
So it gives Mexico exclusive access to this big area in the Gulf that's estimated to hold around 22.5 billion barrels of oil. I did a little bit of Googling, a little bit of calculating. Currently in the U.S., a barrel of crude oil is worth, according to a couple days ago, I think, it was worth $80.05. So multiply that out, and you're looking at almost $2 trillion.
Oh, my.
Exactly. So Bermeja Island, this unimportant little guy, is now worth essentially almost $2 trillion.
Oh, you're going to win.
You're
going to win this episode.
There's only one problem.
So crazy. It doesn't exist.
There's no island.
No.
Yep. It's just not there. So when it comes to light in 2009, because they're like, oh, this is our chance. Let's send some guys out to this island. We'll get it established. Everything's perfect. We're in. They send multiple official expeditions to the area. Island's not there. This sparks some controversy and some intrigue and mystery and stuff. So a lot of other expeditions, like third-party journalists, TV, news, adventurers, all these people, they're all heading out to the area that it's listed at being no one's able to find anything. Every expedition comes back with the exact same result. This island just doesn't exist. They even sent
That
teams
is
to
wild.
yeah, they sent teams to study the ocean floor in the area. Zero evidence that an island had ever existed.
What?
So, the question is,
Oh my goodness.
what happened? Yeah, and here is where I discover my topic for today. So there's some speculation. Some speculated that the island disappears from natural causes, either like shifts in the earth or decay in the island itself, rising sea levels, anything you could think of. But they studied the floor, and it's just not there. Like, there's no evidence for that. Another theory is conspiracy, and this one's kind of hilarious. So a growing belief is that the U.S. purposefully, discreetly managed to somehow make this island disappear.
We blew it up.
Yeah, without anyone noticing.
We moved it.
Yeah, so the big conspiracy is like the CIA somehow was involved.
What the?
They managed to get rid of it because it meant that, in the midst of this massive historical conversation about drilling rights, it puts the U.S. in a great spot to make more money off the deal.
Even if it costs $1 trillion to destroy an island, you're gonna do it because you'll get $1 trillion.
Yeah, you'll get another like $800 billion.
Oh my gosh!
Exactly. So, and they're like official representatives and like politicians from Mexico have been like, nope, that's clearly conspiracy. But others have been like, but I mean, it kind of makes sense. So it's still like kind of the discussion. But the funny thing is my actual topic is not like, that's the end of the story. That's as much as we know about this island.
Really? So it's still kind of just up in the air, like they're still trying to figure out?
Yeah, essentially. There's no...
Or did we win?
There's no...
By we, I mean America.
Well, I mean, I think we won it. They couldn't find their island, so they couldn't claim that. So it's estimated they lost 22.5 billion barrels of oil because they couldn't find that island. But that's the end of the story. No one knows exactly how this happened, but there is... So that's the end. There's nothing else to that topic, which is why I was like, can't be a full topic. It only took me a couple minutes. Which is why my actual topic is the third option for what could have happened.
I know. I have a theory.
Yep. Hit me.
This might not be what your theory is, but this is what popped in my head. Is that they made fake maps.
Okay.
And said that they were from the past, but they really weren't. That's my theory.
Good theory. Yeah, solid.
I didn't get it. Okay, what is it?
You came close. The other official theory, the third main theory, which is my topic for discussion this afternoon, or I guess whenever you're listening. The theory is that the island never existed, but that the original map makers made it up as a trap to catch future map makers if they plagiarized their work. Enter my topic, which is called, it's just a real thing that happens all over the place. It's called plagiarism traps. And it is...
Specifically with map making?
Yeah. Well, there's quite a few different ways to do it, but it's all very interesting. And so I read about this theory, and I was like, so we don't know if that happened with this island, but that's where I discovered this concept.
Yeah.
So I Googled, and I went back on my search history to look up exactly what I Googled. And the exact thing was map makers purposefully making false ... because I didn't know how to end that sentence.
Maps?
And it led me straight to this concept called plagiarism trapping. Fun side note, the Google search right below that, it made me laugh out loud in the coffee shop I was studying, was why are bidets not popular in the U.S.?
That's a great question.
I looked it up for a topic. Nothing there, nothing good. But
Oh, there has to be.
I'm sure there's some. I'm sure there's some story if I.
It's
dug
a race.
harder.
We'll see who gets to toilets first.
Discussion for another time.
Yeah.
What I did discover, though, did not disappoint. Plagiarism traps, also known as a slew of other words like copyright traps, ghost words, paper towns, nihilarticle, or mount weasels, also are all names for
same thing.
different forms of plagiarism trapping. They're used all over reference work, so think dictionaries, encyclopedias, maps, directories, atlases, almanacs. Bloggers sometimes will use it too, so people won't steal their blog posts. It's essentially people who have worked really hard, putting their blood, sweat, and tears into whatever it is they're creating, completely fabricating something and hiding it in their work so that if someone copies it, they have definitive proof of it.
That's very, very interesting.
Yeah. So basically, they can say, hey, that's not a word or a place or a truth because I made it up. But now, since you've also used it, I have proof that you're just plagiarizing my stuff.
Yeah.
Cue some examples. And there's so many fun ones. I had to narrow it down to some of my favorite.
Okay.
In 2001, the New Oxford American Dictionary uses the word esquivalence, which sounds good. And the definition is listed in their dictionary as the willful avoidance of one's official responsibilities. It's completely made up. They're just like, we're just going to completely make up a word so that...
Aren't they the ones that make up words, though?
They're the one. They're the ones that define the words that have been made up. But they're the only ones in existence who use this word. So they know that if someone else steps in, like if they find another dictionary with that word in it, they know that someone else is stealing their work.
But what if it just becomes pop culture and people actually start using it for some reason?
Then it's a real word.
Yeah, I guess maybe you just keep tabs on what words people are using. That's really interesting, though.
Isn't it? Yeah. Well, and the goal
That's
is,
very interesting.
with words, it's tricky. But the goal is to make something obscure enough that it's not going to become used.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
you can, I looked up a like word chart, or you can look up word popularity according to like date.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like flatlined the whole time. It's not like
okay, nobody uses it.
Yeah. So it hasn't caught on. But they did catch multiple other dictionaries with that word in their dictionary. So they were able to like put out lawsuits and be like, hey, this is made up. This just isn't real.
I guess it would be easy because you just find the word and then proof right there.
Yeah.
It's just an easy way.
And
that's very interesting.
You just have
that's
documentation of like, hey, just doesn't exist. So clearly this guy plagiarized. Another one is the New Grove Dictionary of Music and Musicians, put out in the 1980s. Is just like a huge, massive encyclopedia on all things Western music. There's someone in there named Dag Henrik Esrum Hellerup.
Okay.
Who's a Danish flautist, conductor, and composer. His father, Johan Henrik, served in the Sherwin Court Orchestra before becoming chamber flautist to King Christian IX. He was subsequently honored at... Oh, here we go. Hofhammer Musicus is what he was officially titled.
Okay.
Problem is, old Daggy never existed. Another one that...
He's like the island.
Yep, made it all up. Another one in another encyclopedia. This is where the term Mount Weasel comes from. This is in 1975, out of Ohio. Someone wrote about a person named Lillian Virginia Mount Weasel, who was like a really successful photographer, did all these unique works. You can read about all these works that Lillian did. And it says that Mount Weasel died at 31 in an explosion while on assignment for Combustible magazines or Combustibles
just
magazine.
Okay, so they're just making stuff up that
Yeah.
is not even close to true, so that they don't accidentally like. What if this was a real person? It's like there's no way. It's not even a real last name.
Just not true. I just think it's so fun that this is like a whole thing that's just like common and people are doing it and it's working. And I would like to be on any team that is in charge of doing something like that. 2009, a town called Argleton showed up on Google Maps in the English countryside. People from the area got really confused and went to check it out. Turns out, no town. So they they called Google Maps out, and Google Maps was like, "Oh, sorry, must have just been human error." But everyone was like, I mean, clearly.
You don't just accidentally make up a town.
Whoops! Oh, type. Oh no, Argleton.
I tripped.
I tripped and put this on this part on the map, and it's called Argleton, and it's a sweet little town. Nowhere in sight, and people called them out, and Google's like, "Yeah, crazy. Someone on our end just messed something up. We'll get rid of that right quick."
Don't worry, we'll fire somebody.
Busted. Oh, okay. Here's a. Oh, this one's going to be difficult to explain. It's difficult enough to pronounce.
I'm ready. You got it.
It's full of irony. A 2001 article, German article, comes out talking about nihilarticle. Nihilarticle. It's an article in Germany of 2001, and it uses the word as the way to define this very concept. So a deliberately fictitious entry in an encyclopedia or dictionary, which is intended to be more or less quickly recognized as false by the reader.
So it's very self-aware.
Yeah, so it's a term used to define this concept.
So they just made up another word to describe a mountain weasel.
Exactly. So essentially, it's German. It combines nihil, which is Latin for nothing, and artikel, which is German for article. So it literally means nothing article. The problem is that 2001 article, totally fabricated, like someone just made up the whole thing. Fast forward to 2004, someone wrote another fake article and referenced the earlier article, which means if you're doing your math, and I'm just going to read how someone else defined it. Marissa Laliberte. So sorry, Marissa, if I mispronounced your last name. I gave it a shot. From the Reader's Digest, she says that word might be a made-up story about a made-up story about a word defining made-up stories.
Yeah.
And I just think that's very fun. It's just like, what a whirlwind.
That's very meta.
Very meta. And then we got to talk about Ohio. Guy named Peter Fletcher in 1978. He's a Michigan alumni, chairman of the State Highway Commission. He's a big U of M fan. In 1978, he's in charge of making this map, and he puts two small phantom towns in Ohio, and they're called Go Blue and Bidosu. And it literally, it was a prank he played on a colleague he had that went to OSU.
Yeah.
And so Go Blue is just Go Blue, which is something that the University of Michigan chants. And then another thing they chant is Beat OSU. So he put another tiny little town called Bidosu.
Go Blue.
And he's just like, I'd love to be in a position of power where I could just add towns for jokes. These maps were printed in limited supply and are now seen as collector's items and good luck charms for the school, in case you're curious.
Yeah, no, that is cool. My first thought is, last thing?
I was going to, last big example.
Do it.
Okay.
And then I'll say my thing.
Okay, I was just going to say, there's a small town called Kalispell, had a cartographer named Gilly Bram, who recently falsely named a small street Your Mom to catch future plagiarism. And I just want to note that one
Is
of
that
the
true?
examples I used is fake so that I can protect this episode from future plagiarism. But I'm not going to tell you which one it is.
My mind is blown right now.
Yeah, I'm not telling you which one's fake, but one of them.
I guarantee I know which one is fake. But I'm not going to say it either because I want to protect our podcast. We're 50-50 on this, so I need to protect it as well.
Exactly.
That was the whole thing. That's what I was going to say. The whole thing I was thinking this time was, how do we protect our IP from being plagiarized with this podcast?
Yeah, don't worry about it. I got you covered. One of them,
Okay.
which I will not name, is faked.
It made me think, how many times have I fallen for a Mount Weasel? And I'm going to call it a Mount Weasel because that sticks with me.
Because it's just the most fun one.
It
for
just
sure.
flows. It sticks with me.
Yeah,
It's very possible I've fallen for one.
they're used pretty often. Most of the time, especially with cartography, they're used like on small streets. The tricky thing is you have to put them in a place where you don't think they're going to cause any trouble, but still allows them to be in there so that you are able to catch future plagiarists. So the goal is to find a street that maybe like dead ends and there's nothing there to use. The people use that a lot and like name the street something weird. Or like towns, they'll place tiny little towns in all lower capitals in like a dirt field where, nothing's really going on. The goal is to be discreet.
Sure. That makes sense.
So I'm almost done. So, I have one more story. Sometimes these work and sometimes they don't. To your point, the term esquivalence backfired. It ended up being used in multiple different dictionaries, which did prove their copyright, so it worked in that sense. But because it's been used in multiple publications as a real word, many people are now starting to adapt that it is a real word. And they're like, well, it's in multiple official publications.
Yeah, people are using it.
Exactly. No one's using
That's really
it,
interesting.
but it's now, this made-up word is now commonly seen as an actual word because it did end up in more publications.
Right. You can't just take it back and be like, you can't use that word anymore because it doesn't exist.
Exactly. Nope. The Americans have it. The world has it. There's nothing. No taking it back.
So if this is to continue over the next 1,000 years, how many words will be Mount Weasels?
I don't know. Well, not many in the U.S., and the reason is they had two separate rulings in the 90s that made these traps pretty useless. Those rulings both kind of came to the decision that these traps are no longer admissible as evidence in court. And so in the U.S., they're not being used very much anymore. But in other places, they're still alive and well. Like in the UK in 2001, the Ordnance Survey, which is like a map-making survey organization, they received a €20 million settlement from the Automobile Association after their small made-up streets helped prove that the Automobile Association had been stealing those maps. They were able to prove it there and get a fairly large settlement out of it. So
interesting.
Still alive and well in some places.
Okay.
But so I opened with a story that blows my mind, and I'm going to end with a story that blows my mind. And it is, I was so pleased to discover this story when I was researching plagiarism traps. It is my favorite story of a backfired trap. And it just doesn't make sense. So, in order to tell this story,
I'm so excited.
We need to go to New York. It's the 1930s.
Okay.
Two guys. One guy's named Otto G. Lindbergh. He's the director of General Drafting Company. And then his assistant, Ernest Alpers. They're working on a roadmap of New York.
Okay, Otto and Ernest.
Yep. And so they decide they're going to do one of these plagiarism traps. And so they add, in a tiny little area, they add a small little town called Aglo. And it's literally just their first names. That like they took the first letter of their names and mashed them up into naming a town. They went for Aglo, Agloe. And Aglo, it was non-existent. They just added it in there. They were like, just in case, we'll have this little plagiarism trap. It'll help us with like a future lawsuit if we need to. And they released this map of New York. Very good at what they do. Very solid map. Went really well. Fast forward a few years, there's a famous map-making company named Rand McNally. And Rand McNally decides to issue their own map of New York. Guess what their map included?
Aglo.
Aglo. It had the same name, same spelling, in the exact same place. So Lindbergh, of course, immediately drops the lawsuit right on Rand McNally's lap. He's excited. He's like, boom, I gotcha. I've got the proof. You plagiarizing bad boys are going down. And he's like, I'm out here doing hard work. You guys are just stealing it. I know exactly what you're doing. And it stops right here, you know? You can't see Josiah, but he's like miming every...
Oh, people can see me. Go on YouTube, you can see me.
Yeah, some people can, I guess. So, this is supposed to be just a straightforward story of a plagiarism trap working.
I hope this is going in the direction that I think it is.
Well, I don't know. Possibly.
Okay.
Here's what happens. They're excited. They're like, this is an easy win. We're going to get so much money. But Rand McNally's lawyers, they go to the courtroom. They're pleading their case. And they counter the whole suit with a really simple fact that really confuses everyone. Lindbergh and Alpers especially.
Say it.
Rand McNally explains that they saw Aglo on Lindbergh's map, and they were perplexed by it. They hadn't heard of that before. So they sent a researcher to go investigate the area, and they tell the judge that the researcher they sent to investigate that area sees a single store, and the store is named the Aglo General Store.
Yes! I knew it. It's real.
Lindbergh
They made it real.
Yeah, Lindbergh is immediately confused. No one knows what's going on. How on earth could a store in the area be named after a town that he had completely made up using his initials? Doesn't make any sense. So Randy McNally's lawyers are like, I don't care, that doesn't make sense. This has to be a real place because there's a store here named after it. Judge agrees. Algo must be real. I mean, there's a general store with the name.
Right.
Lindbergh loses the case. He's just completely perplexed. And then they find out what happened. Yes. They had to do some researching. Here's what went down. There's an oil company named Esso at the time, and they happened to own a few gas stations in the area. And those gas stations at some point decided they needed to buy some maps. So they buy a few maps for those stations from General Drafting Company. And a couple's passing through, stops at the gas station, is looking at the map, decides they're going to buy one. And they're looking for future business opportunities. And as they're looking through this map, they see a small town nearby named Aglo. And they decide, you know what? Let's check it out.
No way.
They check it out. They're like, what? There's this listed town here, and there's no one, no companies, no entities, no businesses or anything that's servicing this little area. So they invested their own money based off of purely the name of the town on this map, and they build a general store right in the center of where it says the town is. And they decided, like any normal people likely would, to name that store after the town, Aglo General Store. And thus, Lindbergh created a fake town on one of his maps then lost his own plagiarism lawsuit because it turns out
Oh my
that
goodness.
some unfortunate couple just coincidentally happened to accidentally make that fake town a real town in the short time between the creation of the map and the plagiarism case. Just so wildly unlikely, but
That
so
is crazy.
absolutely fun.
I don't know. Maybe I am secretly a conspiracy theorist because I want to say if you're like a big map company, maybe it's worth building a shop. Once you find out that you've been hit with a lawsuit, like, oh crap.
Just build
Let's
the
go
shop.
down there and yeah.
Well,
That is crazy.
I would
That's even
imagine-
more crazy though.
I would imagine they were able to confirm that, like, oh, the shop has been here for a year and a half or something, like before the lawsuit or whatever. Probably dispelled any big conspiracy.
Oh, that's true. Oh, that is wild.
Isn't that just insane? Could you imagine being Lindbergh, thinking you have an easy win?
There's nothing you can do to prove that you made it up because
Yeah, and you know he spent the rest of his life trying to convince everybody, like, no, guys, I promise you, I made up this town. And they're like, why is there a general store? He's like, no, here's the story.
duh.
And then that's just so crazy. So he lost his own plagiarism case on a town he invented himself.
that is crazy.
Isn't that so
So
fun?
that's an example of a self-fulfilling one where you make it up and then it becomes real.
And then it becomes real. Yeah. All it
like
takes
the
is
definition one.
all it takes is the absurdly low odds that a couple would just be looking to start a business and just happen to see your one map you made with that on it.
So crazy. That is crazy.
What's fun, which I didn't learn until after I'd finished researching this, is that, well, this part's less fun, but the store eventually went out of business. I think probably because there wasn't actually a town there. Like, I would
'Cause
imagine.
nobody lives there.
Yeah, they built that assuming, like, oh, there's a, this will be good. We'll service some
You
people.
got a post office at least. There's maybe a few hundred people living nearby.
Yeah, so it's possible that Lindbergh just, like, bankrupted these people on accident just by doing this little trap.
He probably doesn't care. He's probably mad at him.
Yeah, exactly. Like, could you imagine? I hope he went and, like, talked to him. It was like, guys, why would you? Anyway, but what's fun is that in 2008, so when the store went out of business, this whole story kind of died down for a little bit, till 2008 when someone wrote a novel named Paper Towns that was released that features this fake town. And you may have heard of it because in
Yeah, I have.
2015, 20th Century Studios made a movie based off of that novel. And the whole thing is centered around, like, kind of this fake town and the mystery of, like, what's going on. It's very interesting.
And it's based on this town, this fake town.
Yeah. So I don't know the plot of the book or the movie, to be honest, but I did read enough to know that the novel was based on Aglo, and I think the premise is like a girl disappears and then there's like all this mystery. So I'm assuming part of the mystery has to do with like she moved to this town that doesn't even exist type of thing.
Oh, okay.
But
Wow.
that movie / novel made this fake town permanently famous almost 100 years later. So now if you go to the area, you can even find a sign that says, "Welcome to Aglo, home of the Aglo General Store. Come back soon." And that's it.
Wow.
It's still not a town.
That was written by John Green.
Yeah. I actually didn't know that.
You didn't?
Do
Do you know who that is?
No, I just didn't know that he wrote this one.
Yeah, he's the YouTube, the Crash Course guy. The John Green.
John Green, the Mean
You know
Machine.
John Green? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, Google him. Google his face.
Look at his face.
Look at it. Look at
John
him.
Green. Oh, yeah.
And
that
his
checks
brother
out.
Hank?
He
that
also
guy.
wrote The Fault in Our Stars.
Yeah, that's the dude.
Here's the
Okay, very interesting.
here's the description for Paper Towns. Oh, never mind. This is just
Never mind, it's too boring.
a little description. Yeah, never mind. Don't care.
Never mind, I'm bored.
Let me click over to Amazon really quick.
Okay, you're gonna buy it? You
Yeah.
should read it.
No, No.
Book club.
Here's the description.
Okay.
When Margot Roth, Spiegelman, Spiegel.
Okay.
Anyway, beckons Quentin Jacobson in the middle of the night, dressed like a ninja, and plotting an ingenious campaign of revenge, he follows her. Margot's always planned extravagantly, and until now, she's always planned solo. After a lifetime of loving Margot from afar, things are finally looking up for Q until day breaks and she has vanished. Always an enigma, Margot has now become a mystery, but there are clues, and they're for Q. So that's
Clues.
that.
Okay.
Anyway, that is...
Wow.
We
Wow.
opened with a fake island, and we're closing with a town that became real. That is plagiarism traps.
I gotta a standing ovation.
Lovely.
I had a thought yesterday. Why are ovations only standing? Why can you not give somebody a sitting ovation? Or a kneeling ovation? Or a...
I feel
I
like...
don't even know what ovation means.
I'm looking it up right now. Don't you worry. A sustained and enthusiastic show of appreciation from an audience, especially by means of applause.
Especially.
So...
Maybe a few whistles and shouts. Okay, sitting ovation for that one. That is the topic. That's the way to end the season.
Sitting ovations.
Sitting ovation for you, my friend.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, listeners of the podcast, diehard LMS fans, if you would like to show your support for this season, we'll close with a quick sitting ovation.
Everybody with me. Woo!
to 40 fun topics. Do you ever... Does it ever...
No, 60.
Well, there are 20 episodes in this season, and we each brought one.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So there's
Okay.
40.
Yeah.
Is it
Right,
crazy
right,
to
right,
you
right.
that in the course of this series, we've come up with somewhere close to 120 topics?
That's pretty interesting.
Spare a few
And we
Christmas
haven't-
specials.
We haven't quite yet. Yeah, I'm a little worried that one day, if we keep doing this long enough, that we're going to run out of stuff to talk about on the Christmas special. It's fine.
Well, we'll
But
cross
yeah.
that bridge when we come to it.
There's been multiple times where we've had the other person has talked about the thing that was on, like you've talked about something that was on my list to talk about,
Yep.
and vice versa. But we have not both come to the table with the same topic
It
at the
hasn't
same
happened yet.
time, which it could happen.
The odds are extravagantly low, but
They
you never
only
know.
get higher, though.
That's true. We're running out of topics in the world.
There's only so much you can learn me, so we're about there. I think by the time we get to episode 100, that's about it. So
Yep. 120-ish topics, though. I'm
that's a
happy
lot.
with that.
Learned a lot. Had a lot of good feedback. We just got somebody, a friend, new friend of the pod, texted us last week saying he's just started. He's like, I've probably listened to 4 episodes of a podcast my entire life. And he's like, I just started binging your guys' show.
That is so fun. That makes me
that-
so happy.
Shout out, Mike. Mike might get to this in a couple of years.
Yeah,
but
he
by
started
time
from the
does-
beginning, so it'll be a bit.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, Mike.
If you do want to show your appreciation and
I love
support-
that word.
Appreciation. Speaking
love
of
it.
fake words, if you want to show your appreciation for the show and don't necessarily have it in you to become a patron, that's fine. A good free
Yeah.
thing to do that only takes a couple seconds is to leave a quick 5-star review. You don't even have to write words if you don't want to,
No.
but it helps us get seen a little bit.
Yeah, it really does actually help.
Yeah. So if you
Or
wouldn't
if
mind,
you've already done that, you can do that on both Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Or you can go subscribe on YouTube if you've done those first. If you've reviewed us already. Yeah, we're trying to slowly get up there in YouTube as well.
yeah.
Do some more better video stuff.
In general, though, we would like to say thank you to you for listening. We've been doing this
That's the most important
for
part.
many years. This season, we surpassed, when we started this podcast, we said we're going to do 50, we're committing from the beginning of the podcast to 50 episodes, and then we'll see what happens after. And we surpassed that goal in this season. This will be our 60th
We did.
episode, and we're still going strong.
61st actually, because we did a live episode.
Oh, true. 60.
Oh, we gotta do a live episode sometime again. It was such fun. That might be one of my favorite episodes, if not my favorite, just because
It was so fun.
such high stakes. You got your ear pierced,
And now I can say I've gotten my ear pierced live and very publicly for no reason.
in front of an audience.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so fun.
We'll do
That was
another
such a good
one.
time.
Before,
I'd love to do that again.
Before the series ends, we'll do at least one more live.
Yeah, if you're listening and you would like to be a part of another live episode, let us know.
Yeah.
It'll help us gauge if people will actually come.
If people even liked it. I want to go
Yeah.
big. I want to like rent a performance hall.
Oh, we got to do something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Prizes, giveaways. I don't know. We'll be thinking. But in the meantime, I'm gonna give a quick recap of my topic and why people should vote for me.
Yep.
And then you do the same.
Yep.
I talked about our childhood fears. Their Bermuda. I haven't goofballed in a while. Can you draw me a goof?
Yeah, why not? One more for the end of the season.
For old time's sake.
Let's see.
I goof all the time. I just draw me something random.
You want crinkled or non-crinkled?
No, non-crinkled actually.
Okay. It says Venmo Mitch Lauenstein $2.
Okay.
I wonder who
I'll
wrote
do
that one.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Okay, I'm gonna do that as you're giving yours. But I talked about Bermuda Triangle, quicksand, piranhas, and kind of dispelled some of these myths. And hopefully you can sleep better tonight as an
Yeah.
adult. If you are an adult, and if you're a kid and you've been worried about these, it's okay. Don't worry about them. You are capable of tackling these if they present an issue to you. You know what to do. Just don't go in the Bermuda Triangle.
Exactly.
Or just do what you normally would do on water. Slowly make your way out of quicksand and just don't thrash in the water if you're bleeding in the Amazon. That's all I got to say.
If you find yourself in that incredibly specific situation, just be a little
It's
extra
not going to
cautious.
happen unless you're in that specific situation. So there you go. That's what I got to say.
Nice. And I talked about a whole lot of different stuff, but the general gist was plagiarism traps and the use of completely fabricated things to catch people in their own lies if they steal your work sometime in the future. And I think, just as a little side note, if any of you listening are in school and are worried about people plagiarizing your work, I have a great suggestion for you. Just throw some plagiarism traps in those essays, and then if you think you caught them, tell them to the teacher. Say, hey, no one else put the term rumble banana in their essay, so you know that this is copied.
And then if they do,
Yeah.
the teacher's like, gotcha. So you
Gotcha.
you got to be a little bit of a teacher's pet.
Exactly. And you have to be able to find a way to squeeze the phrase rumble bananas into your... Also,
right.
to avoid plagiarism, I took that term from somewhere. One of the sources I researched used that, rumble bananas.
Rumble bananas?
As like an
Okay,
example.
so you are...
No,
You need to work on it a little bit.
I am coming clean. Anyway,
Okay.
it's a fun story,
You're honest
and
about
it
it.
ended with a fake town becoming real, then becoming fake again, then becoming a scene of a novel.
That's so interesting. Great topic. I'm a huge fan of that one.
Yes.
Very, very.
A good finale
Interesting.
topic. you
So
think?
many good stories in there.
Yeah.
I think so. Do you have any good memories or moments from this last season? I know we talked about the live episode, but that was last season technically.
Yeah, loosely last season. I've had a lot of fun this season. Thank you all for hanging in with us. This season included much of Josiah's world traveling, so it was a bit trickier to
did.
set up recording.
Yeah.
And we were a little less consistent.
Very inconsistent.
But we're back now. Except by back, I mean the season's over and we're taking a little break.
We're taking a little break because I am going on a big hike and then moving again, and I don't know where I'm living soon. So once I get settled in, we're starting back.
Can I tell you maybe one of my favorite moments from this season?
Tell me.
It was when I gave my topic was over a plant in a specific region, and it was at the time when you were world traveling.
Yeah.
And you just happened to
that's
be.
a huge highlight.
If you haven't listened to that one, he just you go back and listen to it. It's called The Wonder Plant. But Josiah, I was telling, it's geographically only in this one spot, and they think they found it, but you can go look in this one area. And Josiah was like, I'm in that country right now, like an hour away from that. And went and looked.
we were, I think a couple days after we recorded that, we were going on a road trip to get to the next city, and it was an hour out of the way, I think, from the road we were on.
Yeah.
So cool.
I think.
Yeah, I felt like Josiah out in the field, like Josiah the field reporter.
That, I think, was probably my favorite moment of the whole season.
That's true. Yeah, I forgot about that. That is a huge one.
What about you?
Yeah, lots of, I don't know. That's up there for me as well.
Yeah.
It was fun. I do have to say the one where I came back from my travels and talked about, it was sign language versus 15 country lessons.
Oh, yeah.
That one was just fun to just reminisce a little bit and share some of my stories and some stuff I've learned.
And you talked about...
I love a good debrief.
Yeah, totally.
If you know anything about me. So that was a fun one for me as well.
And you talked about the main thing I remember from that topic was your incident with the bathroom situation on the train.
Oh, that's one of my favorite stories. If you don't know that story, ask me about it. I'd love to tell it again.
Or go listen to the episode.
Or go listen to the episode.
Totally up to you. That was episode 13 of season 3, in case you're curious. Anyway, Top Gun.
Good times.
I had fun talking about that one because it was right after that movie came out, and we were all obsessed with it. Yeah. Rotating building. I enjoyed that one. Feel Yeppin'.
Yes. Feel Yeppin'. I feel like I recently heard about that. I read it somewhere, and I was like, oh, I know what that is.
It was me. I gave a topic on it.
Oh. I was like, I feel like I just sat on the computer with this guy, and he just shared.
It's the weirdest
He shared all
seminar.
his findings. It's like I think I'm the only one here. I don't know. Yeah, I really, really enjoy doing this podcast, and I'm excited to keep doing it in the future.
Yeah, we're not done. I will say, everyone brace yourselves. We are taking a couple months off to recollect. Josiah's gonna go do some fun tripping again, and I'm gonna be alive too, hopefully. And then
We're gonna do some dangerous stuff.
I'm gonna do some danger, and then we're gonna come back and hit season 4 hard.
Oh, we got some. I mean, I've learned by now not to make promises that I know there's a possibility I can't keep. So maybe I just won't say anything. But we're excited.
Yeah,
we're already talking about
there's
it.
things in the works that might happen. That's the best we can do.
Best we can do is our best.
Yep. We can't end the season without rock and punishment. So why don't you tell the people what the season finale punishee is?
Yes.
Sorry for saying punishee.
The loser. Well, did we say 3 or 4?
Let's do 4. Let's make it a month.
Okay. The loser, since we're taking such time off and there's time to do punishments, the loser will have to choose 4 punishments that one of us has done. So you get to choose between the last 61 punishments.
Yep.
No, because some of them, Christmas truce. We do the Christmas truce.
Yeah, so it's more like 58.
Sure. Something like that. You have to choose 4 of those and do 4 punishments.
Yep.
By the time you come back next time.
By the time, which for
By season 4, episode 1.
Yeah. Which we're not even going to tell you when that's going to be, but just brace for impact. It's going to rock your socks off.
Yeah.
Every episode is going to be sock or rock themed. And with that horrible
I'm talking
joke,
about socks today. Just make sure your shoes are tied tight, and you should be fine.
Yeah. So if you don't want to miss the start of next season, which trust me, you don't, go ahead and hit subscribe or follow however your podcast streaming app works so that it'll automatically add when we jump in. Or you can follow our social medias at Learn Podcast. We're most active on Instagram and YouTube. And that we'll be posting kind of some updates and probably a start date, that type of
Absolutely.
thing. So join us
Absolutely.
over there. Josiah, you got anything else?
Nothing.
Okay. Well, as the winner of last episode, I'll allow you to do the final Season 3 honors.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Larry, play us out.